Yeah, that was really fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah, everyone, Puppy Moses is right here. I don't know if you can see him. He's hiding behind the foliage like a tiger in the tall grass. But there is a very striped dog just laying at our feet, snoring. So if you hear him, it's not us, it's not our stomachs, it's the big dog just hanging out.
What is the definition of foliage? Is it really just one
like,
leaf?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if one leaf is foliage. I think in general it's like the plant life.
Oh, so that's okay.
But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I don't know.
Oh, come on, really?
The proper definition of foliage being one. Oh my goodness. Speaking of not knowing things.
Oh, you're introducing me now?
No. No, I was going to say, I have no idea what to do with turning 41 next week. I just don't even...
Is that coming up already?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Wow. Well, what do we got to do something to celebrate?
Well, first of all, I'm going to go to the new Indiana Jones movie twice. You can come with me once if you want.
Okay.
Unless you want to see it twice. But I sure am.
Yeah.
Because that's how I roll.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Right. Oh,
yeah, man.
That's how he rolls. See the big thing going after the guy running away from the wolves?
Dun, 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 dun. My like cell phone ringtone is the Indiana Jones theme song.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, you know how you'll be in a public place and someone's ringtone will be like some song that like no one wants to listen to, like a metal song or a hip hop song, you know. My son's ringtone, he's 11 and his ringtone is like a Snoop Dogg riff. No lyrics, just anyways, I'm always the obnoxious guy that lets my ringtone go just long enough that people hear that it's the Indiana Jones theme song. Because are any of us really surprised that I like attention?
I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. So we're doing a really cool episode today. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to read a poem at the front end about my hopes and my dreams and then changing because of circumstances I could not control and what you do with that.
Yeah.
And then we'll land on another poem about taking whatever God or universe or source or fate gives us and loving it, even if it's not the path we intended. Because how many of us, and I'll just tip my hand, I would say almost all of us have great dreams when we're young that at some point die or at least change. Very few people will tell you, you know, I set out to be a neurosurgeon when I was 5 and now I am one. Let me tell you about my success. And when you meet those people, they're the last people you want to sit next to at a dinner party, right? Like, I mean, the most interesting people to me have curved and wound their way to where they are, and they're not always entirely sure where they're going next. But they have like a through line of goodness and interest and a creative spark, and they're just chasing it down.
And they're just, right. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a poem on the front end, I'll just read to you, called Indiana Jones. It's at the texanrock.com website if you want to read it. But this is about going all in, studying antiquities for literally decades of my life, only to find that the job market was bad. And I had to do something else. And so we'll talk about that in a minute, but like, here's the poem. Okay. All right. Indiana Jones. I wanted to be Indiana Jones since I was 8, and no one ever told me that boyhood dreams die. And so I followed it. I raided lost arks and tempted fate and dug desert dirt and fought cartoon bad guys. When I graduated into a world who thought Dr. Jones was just an old icon, as were all things humanities, I realized that content was its own reward, and still I jonesed to read dead-tongue books by candlelight to keep my sanity. After a 12-year pursuit and an antiquities loot, I learned that you should do what you love, travel the world, and not get tied down, and pass it all on to a kid in a Yankees hat. All right.
All right.
Let me unpack that a little bit.
All right.
Okay? So, for me, after college, I first of all developed an affinity for studying the Bible like a literary scholar just as an undergrad kid in college.
Yeah.
So much so that I asked questions in seminary that made the whole room awkward all the time.
Wow.
Right? Like it was a little bit of a black sheep scenario, but I did a 4-year degree that you do to become a pastor, but I was way more interested in how it functioned as literature, in the field science of archaeology, and like how to bounce off biblical literature and tradition off of the other sacred human texts. And so I was a little bit of a square peg a square peg in a circle hole the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And that started because I saw Indiana Jones literally as an 8-year-old and was like, I want to do that. I want to learn about all things old, learn ancient things, and go to adventurous places and dig in the dirt.
Yeah.
That looks like a good life, right?
Yeah.
And since no one ever told me boyhood dreams die, I just like went for it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And I'm still a person that says you should just go for it. One of the best lines I read in college was by Henry David Thoreau, who said, "Most men live lives of quiet desperation and die with a song still in their heart unsung." And I did not want that to happen to me.
Yeah.
Like I would rather be poor, starving, and committed to my passion than compromise myself in any way.
Right.
And that's just been my story.
Right.
It's been your story as a drummer too.
That's true.
I mean, your parents tried to sit you down and say, you can't make a living off this, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you were like, this is what I'm here to do, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it says, I did it. I raided Lost Arks, tempted fate, dug desert dirt, fought cartoon bad guys, some of them professors. But I went all in, like living that lifestyle until antiquity was just like a part of me. Like I would go on vacation from my PhD program and from being a pastor that explained an ancient text to people, and I would read books on like, theories of ethnicity and antiquity, like, and people would be like, why don't you take a break? And I would just be like, this is what I'm here to do. I just can't put it away, right? I never quite put it away.
Right.
And then I write. Here's the like turn that I think life gives us all. Okay, because you can have a passion like this, right? Like my son right now likes to catch footballs, play tubas, and draw stuff, or play trombone and draw stuff. Yeah. And it's just like what he's here to do.
Yeah. Right.
Are any of them practical careers? He doesn't care. He just knows what he likes.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
And so when I graduated into this like real world, I was given this turn. Like the world not only thought Dr. Jones was just, a great American icon of, Americana culture.
Right. Yeah.
But all things humanities were the same way.
Yeah.
Like we are living in a world that is rapidly forgetting how to access ancient human stories and appropriate their lives to them, and we're paying for it in every imaginable way. The dominant story that comes down to us from antiquity are that humans have this great power to imitate the divine. Something in us can reason, is sentient, and can move all of like the created world and the order of things forward, but we're crippled by our hubris. We don't respect the land, we don't respect whatever put us here, and we don't respect one another, and so we live in fractured relationship to all those things. If that ancient archetype is not relevant now, I don't know what the fuck is. Yeah. Right?
Right.
And so I graduated into a world that was forgetting that story was true. And with that, we're going all of the professor jobs that like value those things. Like in America right now, there are a handful of professor jobs a year, and maybe 100 people into antiquity like me. And I began to realize that whatever I was going to do, I wasn't going to get paid to be a professor like Indiana Jones, right? It just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't a valid career choice. Now, this is the beautiful thing. Because I pivoted and realized over time that actually I was always in it for the art.
Yeah.
I was in it for the beauty of story. I was in it for the great ideas of mythology. And I was in it for really the content itself. Getting inside the mind of an ancient person and like seeing how they saw the world just like lit me up. I don't know why I'm that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But here's what it says. I realized the content was its own reward.
Yes.
That is just sitting with an ancient text or holding an ancient object in my hand was its own reward. I didn't need a giant paycheck for it. I didn't need an audience of people to listen to me lecture. And it says, I still Jones. See the play on Indiana Jones?
I didn't even catch that.
I Jones for my antiquities fix, man.
Yeah.
I Jones to read dead language books by candlelight to keep my sanity. Moses laid down and shifted the whole set forward. That's funny. And so this is what it comes down to, okay? After a 12 years pursuit in an antiquities loot, because actually after college, so I did 4 years of college, I did 12 years of coursework in antiquities, and I'm still writing my dissertation. Last chapter, hoorah. I learned that you should do what you love. Don't give that up. And if no one will pay you to do what you love, do what you have to get paid so that you can do what you love. Don't equate your passion with money or fame or anything trivial or lesser, but instead do what you love. It's what you're here to do. It's what you were made to do, and so do it. Travel the world. Don't get tied down. And then this is my favorite line. Pass it all on to a kid in the Yankees hat. So in the Temple of Doom, do you remember the kid that follows Indy around? He's like, Dr. Jones, in his Yankees hat, and he gets to go on this grand adventure with Indiana Jones. And for me, I have found the most joy passing off my passion to kids. I don't just mean my son. I mean, to me, all of the like discipline of learning 7-8 languages and learning all of the dig sites in Syria, Palestine, and how to hold all that information in my head and explain the ancient Near East and the classical world well, yeah, that's all great. My favorite thing is to give it to a 6th grader or a 7th grader in a way that inspires wonder in them.
Or a senior.
Yeah. But notice, I didn't say in a way that inspires scholarship in them, or them to become a nerd and the same thing about them. What I want is for them to see my life and realize whatever lights me up is possible. I can go after it, and in fact, I ought to do it at all costs. Right? And so, wonder is the great gift of the artist, the creator, the person of passion for a discipline or a field, someone that's done the 10,000 hours to master a discipline. If you're a teacher, if you're a professor, if you're an artist, a creator, someone that passes on knowledge, what you really pass on at the end of the day is
a mom
wonder.
Or a dad.
Yeah, man.
Oh?
What do you mean by that? That's a great no, because I agree.
Because you're doing the same thing, right? Yeah, absolutely. You're in a passionate way, and sometimes that passion comes out in things that maybe the child or whoever's there kind of misunderstands until they get older.
Yeah.
And start to realize that's passion, and to go for it in whatever it is, whatever path they're walking. Right?
Yeah.
Just boom.
Did you see that in your parents? Because your parents are fascinating, brilliant, creative people. Like they kind of walk to their own drumbeat.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, did you pick up on that, or when did you pick up on that?
Off and on, because as a child or as a person that's growing, you grab knowledge and then you think you know everything, and then you grab more knowledge and then you think you know everything, and then you look back and go, I didn't know anything. You never know anything.
Yeah, that's true,
you
man.
never really do, right? So don't hold on to that stuff too tightly. But grasp it, use it while it works, and then let it go and move on, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad, passionate about mathematics.
Mean Gene.
Mean Gene.
I bet no students called him that. Or maybe they did.
Maybe they did. In fact, a buddy of mine, he's a bass player, but he also was in medical school. But he would see my dad walking down the campus, and he said, dude, the way he walks, he reminds me of the bear for Super Sugar Crisp. He said, I could just sing a song watching your dad walk down the campus. But he walked like that because he was loving what he did.
Yeah, man.
Right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, he still loves it. To talk to him now, and he's, going through the dementia thing, but to talk to him now, it still lights him up.
Yeah.
It still lights him up.
I saw that when we were eating with the Kutskos and having dinner with your parents. When Phil asked your dad a question about his teaching days, he went from just kind of staring across the room to there. Yeah. Like right there. It was so cool.
Yeah. In fact, they did that the other night when after we ate wings. And that delicious burger.
Yeah.
Ooh, off the chain. But
Eric and I have discovered with Chris Rock that we are both genetically predisposed. That's
right. But yeah, Phil asked him about something vectors or something, and he was able to recite this thing and this thing, just I don't even know what. To me, it was just like, what are they talking about? Big word, big word, big word, big word. But yeah, he's still in him at 90 years old, and it's still in there.
Yeah. So the poem we actually filmed for this episode is called Amor Fati, and it's from the Stoic notion that you should be a lover of your fate. And the big idea is this: there are so many things we cannot control, and try as we might to pick a path or chart a course, life will tend to steer you in other directions or in directions you never expected. And the Stoic wisdom offered by philosophers like Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus is that actually, if you come to love the journey and see that both the good and the bad are forming you at like an essence level, then there's a goodness to life and a goodness to accepting your fate and a peace of resignation to that fact.
Right.
And so for me, I really started to realize it may just not be in the cards for me to be a professor, but to be honest, if I was a professor, I would have no time to write and perform poetry or to write the books that I'm writing right now. I just have pulled back and said, okay, well, this is my passion. Let's not confuse that with occupation. Right?
Did you catch that?
Yeah. Who you are and what you're here to do and what lights you up isn't necessarily going to be your job, and seldom, if ever, will pay you money. Do you know, this week, within the Text and Rock Facebook group, I had 2 people reach out and say, I've actually got an art show. They're both in bands, right?
Yeah.
Seth is in a doom country band, and John is in a kind of like punk rock emo core band. And I saw one play in Cedar Rapids and one in Des Moines, and you know what? They both have other jobs. Seth is like a union member, works in a factory but has a really important role there, and he does that for a living. But man, you see him play his bass on stage, and like that's what he's here to do, right? John works at a U.S. Cellular. He's like second in command at a U.S. Cellular, and I got to get wings again with him, and he was saying, you know what? My job pays the bills. I have a house in the country where when I practice music, no one's bothered because it's loud. And
It's loud.
I get to do my art because I'm leveraging my job towards it. But he's like, I've been making music in the local art scene for 10 years now, and I'm not quitting.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is to not confuse your passion with your occupation.
Exactly.
And so, what is it for you? What is like the silver thread of your life, or like the through line that you can never quite put away? Like, I could put you as a barista at Starbucks or an attorney at law, but something in you would still want to practice photography or take pictures. Something in you would still want to paint or write songs.
Yeah.
Most of us have some kind of creative impulse. Don't be afraid to do it, and don't be afraid to do it outside of your career, outside of recognition or anyone really, quote unquote, caring.
Right.
It will heal you in doing it.
Right.
The content will be its own reward.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Cool.
What else you got? Oh, you know what? Dude, that's a great looking hat, by the way.
Oh yeah, thanks. Hey everyone, I'm hoping to get the merch store up by the time you see this episode. And look, we've never, just being straight with you, we've never really made a dime off of Text and Rock. We've done this for almost 6-7 years.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
And we don't make money, and we're not going to make money off of merch, but we are trying to build a community around not just our poetry and what we make, but the bravery to make your own art and do your own thing.
Right.
And so, if you're interested, we printed Text and Rock hats with our logo and some hoodies. They're both in orange and pirate heart black. And I think we have black and orange in everything we made, right?
I think so.
And then we have some like dry fit t-shirts for the summer. We'll make some heavier, maybe long sleeve ones when fall comes.
Yeah. And we got to give a shout out to Maurice Nurse of Creative Printing Plus. Love you, Maurice.
Hi, Maurice.
In Iowa City. Mm-hmm. I don't know the address, but look him up. Go hang out with the guy. He's a good person. He helps the community.
Yeah.
Dude, you know, he had a guy working for him that lived in a car outside his place.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the kind of people that we need.
Yeah.
Is to not judge somebody because they live in a car in the parking lot of the job that he works at.
Yeah.
But Maurice saw that this person was worth something.
Yeah.
And actually it turns out this guy was almost like a genius computer guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just didn't have all what it takes to live in the society. The way it is set up.
One of my favorite authors, he wrote the War of Art. Like he flipped The Art of War, the famous book, into the War of Art. Yeah. And wrote about the resistance that the artist encounters.
Yeah.
He lived in a car for like a few years while he was trying to make it as an author.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. Wow.
But, no, seriously though, we wanted our merch to be local, and it may take longer, but that's because when you like purchase a t-shirt or a hat or a hoodie to be part of our community, we want to write you a note of thanks. We want to ship it to you ourselves, and we want to use production that supports local business. Right.
And the local business supports the local people. Yeah. In the localness. What am I trying to say?
Somewhere in all that locality.
Maurice really supports the folks around him.
He sure does.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go in and talk to Maurice in his shop for more than 10 minutes, he'll start to mention the other local artists and podcasters and poets that come in and do their merch with him.
Yes.
And what's the word? Collaborate just on projects together.
Yeah.
And so we want there always to be a heart behind our art. So nope, not going to be fast and drop ship. drop shipped, might take a few weeks, but it will be made with love, and it will be sent by us, and we'll write you a personal note just to say thanks. And so the merch shop should be open like this week.
All right.
Cool. I think that's all we got today.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Really?
Enjoy this new original poem, Amor Fati, and most of all, do not be afraid when life sends you twists and turns, because the person you're here to be will be the same, even if plans change.
Yeah.
All right?
I like that.
All right. Bye, Texan Rockers. We love you.
Love you. Be good to each other. Zap. Zowie. Zoinks.
Love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own. How often do we try to rewrite the stars or attempt to claim a different zone? The philosopher King explains a stoic notion of amor fati. You should love fate and make friends with destiny. The big idea is this: do not be remiss when things do not seem to turn out your way. Instead, call upon the inner wisdom to say, this is the path written for me to walk, be it rising to emperor or outlined in chalk. I will be a lover of my lives and a person who strives and who does not fear pyrosis. This does not mean we fail to write stars. Not for a second do we stop to strive. It means the fabric of our lives are cosmically woven, and so in an age-drinking magical potion, Aurelius has a more powerful gnosis when he says, trust that all is for the best, for we carry a fate with us, and it carries us. Your stars will do the rest. Wherever you find them, travel there.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was awesome, man.
Did you hear Moses snoring?
Oh man, you know how we're always talking about quantum stuff, and
Yeah, man.
believe it or not, I tried to tell an atom a joke,
Yeah.
but it was no laughing matter.
You just like represent the dad jokes without being one. It's amazing. It's a good thing Otto's in your life.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get it.